A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to this session of error correction in English language. My name is Nitika Gaurav Prakash and I'm an MPhil in English language. And prior to this, I was working with Everon Education Limited, where I was into soft skills training, online rather via VSAT. So today's session, we are going to talk about error correction in the language itself. Now what happens most of the times with many of us, English does not happen to be our mother tongue. It is not the primary language that we learn. We are not accustomed to normally communicating with our family, with our friends in this particular language. And so when we are faced with a situation wherein we have to carefully analyze, pick and choose as to what may be wrong in a particular sentence, or let us say in a particular conversation as such, then we are at a loss. So what we do is we very quickly translate, in our minds we translate from our mother tongue into this secondary language, which is English. And because of this quite literal translation, what happens is we end up making a lot of mistakes. And that is the biggest reason why there are so many errors in the day-to-day spoken English language, as well as why whenever we read a sentence, whenever we come across any written material, we find it so hard to pick up the most common errors, right? So what we'll do is we'll begin by having a look at what are the various common things that go wrong when we actually talk about errors, and what are some of the points that we can keep in mind to actually ensure that there are no such errors in the future. So very quick look at what actually causes these errors. Causes can be multiple. Apart from what I've already mentioned, what you can also think about is perhaps there is a wrong usage of, let us say, the tense. You're wanting to say something, you want to say something, you wanted to say something. See, all the tenses are different. So the moment you use a wrong tense in the wrong place, the meaning goes haywire, and then there is a very, very grave error that has already been noticed. Apart from that, what else can be the problem? At times the subject and the verb do not agree. As in, what happens is subject and verb not agreeing will simply mean that for example, if I say I go, this is I go, first person, and the verb that I am using, I am saying I go. At the same time, if I say he go, the subject and the verb are not essentially agreeing over here, because he happens to be third person singular, and so we cannot use the verb go with that. Hence there is a mismatch. Another reason for common error to have been committed. Apart from this, again, if you use the articles in a wrong manner, the prepositions go haywire, you have absolutely no clue as to what models you are using. Sometimes there is a problem with the contractions. Where do we put an apostrophe? Where we do not put an apostrophe? There are so many reasons like this that you can actually think of. Okay, now moving on to demonstrating these things, these explanations that I've just given you, into something more concrete, helping you understand this with the help of examples. Right, so first example, you can have a look there at the screen. Now this says each person should have their own car. Conversational English, a very, very common error. You can have a look at, you just eavesdrop into any conversation that the youngsters nowadays are having, and you will find umpteen such errors over there, because they have absolutely no clue as to what is going grossly wrong where. Now each person should have their own car. The moment you say each person, you are referring to an individual. It happens to be a singular case, and hence what is to be used? Very simply, each person should have either his or her own car. You cannot use their, because once you use the word their, it refers to plural. So they, their, he, his, everyone, as in we are talking about an individual, we have to use either his or her. The second sentence that you can see on the screen, again it happens to be each and everyone are present. Each singular, everyone, again I am singling every individual.